What's going on, everyone? So according to Tim McMahon, Trae Young is basically available, and teams like the Spurs could end up pulling off a trade for him if they wanted him. Problem is, he doesn't really have a market. So if there was a real market for Trae Young, he'd be somewhere else right now. If the Spurs wanted Trae Young, they easily could have gotten him. Spurs and the Lakers were both the two teams heavily kind of linked to Trae Young. There was a lot of talks of Spurs, especially looking to go move to go get Trae Young, because him and Victor Wembanyama would have made a lot of sense. Now, from the Lakers side of things, the Lakers have been linked to Trae since basically last offseason, right? And I mean, Kendrick Perkins basically on national television was like, the Lakers are getting Trae Young, and didn't end up happening. So the thing is, though, is the question was like, okay, what's the deal, though? Right? Like, is Atlanta willing to trade Trae? Trae has even said, like, he'd love to stay in Atlanta, but he also doesn't want to be a bottom-feeding team. He doesn't want to be rebuilding. But you look at Atlanta, it's a bunch of young talent that you're probably in your best interest to hit that reset button. Probably in your best interest to put together a trade to get as much young talent and assets as possible. Now, the other side of that is the Spurs own Atlanta's pick, right? So if you're Atlanta, are you really looking to move Trae right now, like this season? But again, according to reports, not just from Tim, but there were reports pretty much all off season that were like, Atlanta will move Trae if they can. But there's no market for him. Teams don't really want him. And I think there is a little part of just Trae's play style, right? Him being kind of undersized. He can be very inefficient at times. I mean, when Trae's on, he's incredible to watch, right? When he's cooking and he's feeling it and he's hitting everything and just like the dude is unbelievable, right? And he's like the first guy to average 25 and I think it was 25 and 10 since LeBron and like the bubble or whatever. Like, I mean, the dude's, and one of the best playmakers in the NBA. Guy is an absolute bucket getter. The guy can do so many things on the basketball court, but he is a liability on the defense side. He is undersized. He is very high usage on-ball player, and it's just like, does he make sense to fit alongside a LeBron James? Now, LeBron wants to play more off-ball. JJ Redick wants LeBron to play more off-ball, so maybe Trae would make a little more sense. However, Lakers aren't really looking to run a heavy ball-dominant offense where it's just Trae's creating everything. No, they want to run that free-flowing motion offense, where you basically just essentially have an initiator and then all these guys are off. Now, look, Trae has had seasons in which he shot like 55% 2 seasons ago, something like that off the top of my head, on catch and shoot threes. It was like some made up number, but it was like real. It was like, wait a minute, like he's really shooting that? Like if he get back to something like that, right, to where he's shooting, not even like 55, like if he just be 45, 46% on catch and shoot threes, that'd be huge, right? Because now I think he could fit in that role. And, you just look at his potential, what he can do long term, his fit alongside Anthony Davis. I mean, Trae Young may be one of, if not arguably the best fit post LeBron alongside Anthony Davis. Trae Young would make things so incredibly easy for Anthony Davis. That pick and roll action would just be, I mean, you could run that every play and teams wouldn't be able to stop it, right? Like, so them as a pairing long term makes a world of sense. If Trae, LeBron, and Anthony Davis, if those three could figure it out and make it work, good luck, right? Because, like, Trae solves a lot. Like, he's a basically upgraded version of D'Angelo Russell, right? So, it's just like, and the Lakers, when D'Lo is on, are, have like a 90% win rate. So, again, if Trae can kind of, figure out and be more willing to play off ball, and some might say, like, no way he would do that. But, it's one thing when you're having to play off ball for DeJounte Murray. When you're Trae, you're like, I'm better. Like, why would I do that? I'm a better playmaker. I'm a better player, right? Like, whether you agree or not, like, there's no way Trae's not thinking that. And that's why you saw DeJounte being the one to play off ball. LeBron James is not DeJounte Murray. If Trae was going to make that adjustment and sacrifice for anybody, it'd probably be LeBron James. Again, there's very few, if anybody, that's a better playmaker than Trae Young outside of maybe LeBron James, right? So if Trae was going to kind of take a back seat for anybody, it'd probably be LeBron. But here's the thing. LeBron would probably be the one taking the back seat and allow Trae to kind of do his thing. But would JJ, like, does it make sense for this team and JJ to kind of let Trae be so on ball and ball dominant? I don't know. Right? Like, there's a lot of questions in that regard. But I don't think it's necessarily like his play or lack thereof, as it is like, what team needs a point guard? Most teams already have their star point guard or, star playmaker. And the teams that don't are teams like the Lakers, San Antonio, right? Like, which makes sense. Like, okay, you have these two teams. The Pelicans were a name that you could have thrown out there, but they just went and got DeJounte Murray. All the bad teams have their guy. I mean, even the Spurs now want to turn Stephon Castle into that, right? So Trae's market is non-existent, and it's not like far-fetched. It makes sense, right? It's like, oh, yeah. Because it's just like, again, how many teams need a point guard? How many teams not only need a point guard, but need a high-usage point guard? And it's just, and any bad team, like Trae's not going to want to go from like one bad team to another. He's going to want to go to a contender. But then, even then, how many teams can trade, $40+ million in salary to acquire Trae and still maintain contention status? There's not very many. The Lakers are probably one of the few. So Lakers, like, it makes sense that the Lakers would be so linked to Trae Young and Trae would be so linked to the Lakers, because it's like he's kind of, like, they kind of make sense for each other. But I don't believe the Lakers do that right now. And I also think that that's why kind of the rumors and everything is like, because there was just all this talk about Trae. All this Trae to the Lakers hype. And then it just like died. Like, just nothing. It was just crickets. And it's like, wait, what? Why? Like, why? Like, again, Kendrick Perkins on national television basically said the Lakers are getting Trae Young. And nothing. But it kind of makes sense that there wouldn't be a ton of conversation about it, because, like, he's not going anywhere. There's no market, right? The Lakers aren't in a rush or a hurry to go get Trae. And if you're the Lakers, right, you're almost better off kind of making moves now that maybe make more sense and make better fits. Right? Like, if you go get Jeremy Grant, like a Bruce Brown or whatever, something like that, it kind of makes more sense to go that route right now with LeBron and AD, rather than hoping and praying that Trae works out. Because Trae would kind of be that Hail Mary move, right? Like, Trae would be, in my opinion, like, things are going terribly. Let's just go take a flyer and see if it works out. Where I think, realistically, Lakers, again, and I don't hate the idea of Trae, but it is a big risk, right? Like, it's not my favorite move. I'm okay if they don't do it, right? But, like, if tomorrow we got news that the Lakers traded for Trae, like, I'd be pumped. I'd be excited. Like, who wouldn't, right? But I would have my concerns. However, you also look at Trae's contract. He got $43 million this year, $45 million next year, and then a player option in 2026, 2027, which, I mean, if you're the Lakers, why trade for a guy that you could just sign outright? Why trade for a guy that, is a questionable fit right now alongside LeBron, that when LeBron retires, it's like, hey, Trae, opt out, come sign with us, and let's go. And he'd still only be 28. So, maybe that's why. Maybe the Lakers are looking at it as like, hey, like, why go and sell the farm to go get Trae right now when we can kind of maintain flexibility these next few seasons? And then when LeBron is ready to retire right off into the sunset, boom, you go bring in Trae Young to kind of replace him if you want to do. It's just kind of a thought, but kind of makes sense in that regard. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, and I pass the question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? Do you like the idea of Trae Young? Do you not like the idea of Trae Young? Do you think, like, yeah, it would be kind of a desperation move, kind of that Hail Mary of like, we're a total disaster right now in this season, so like we got to do something. But I'm not gonna lie, I would, if you're gonna do that type of move and do that Hail Mary move, I almost would prefer Zach LaVine. And look, maybe it's just my bias and I'm just like super high on LaVine, but I really like the idea. It's just, again, it begs the question. But do you think like stay as far away from Zach LaVine as, or not Zach LaVine? See, look, told you Zach LaVine. Do you look at it as like, stay as far away from Trae Young as possible, or do you like the idea of like, no, like, you bring him in, just bring him in later, bring him in, once he's a free agent post LeBron. Not right now. It just doesn't make sense with LeBron. Again, however you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. Helps me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.